Now last week I've been going over the internet and I found something interesting. Well, not only last week, but last week really got my attention because DK posted a video about a thesis concerning LFV being Orokin or not. So I've seen both of his videos, both the original thesis and the follow-up on questions which the community posted concerning the thesis. And I've watched both of these videos, but I believe there's something more to it. And I'd like to address my point of view on this idea of is LFV Orokin or is he not? Let me just make a bit of a disclaimer, this is not gonna be fact, I'm not gonna be saying this is fact, this is the way it is, because there's so little lore, there is so much to be interpreted that what I'm gonna say is just I'd like to brighten up the discussion and give my point of view. If you have a different idea, if you want to discuss that with me, if you want to say that I'm completely wrong, just post it down or bring me a reaction and we'll discuss it. Now, let's move on to what DK stated, because that's what I'm gonna react on. Well, I've seen both the videos, but I'm gonna sum it up. DK, you kinda stated that Corpus were like half-bloods of the Orokin, which means that LFV is one of the half-bloods of the Orokin as well, hence him being named Orokin Cold LFV. Because, well, you said that Corpus and Grenier were slaves, and I agree with that idea as well, because if the Orokin Empire was like almighty and they ruled the entire universe, it would be very likely that the Corpus and Grenier, with their large numbers, would become big massive armies of slaves. And like we see right now, they would just be replaceable troops sent out there to die for the Empire and see whatever difference they could make. Now that all seems logical, but think about the situation of this Empire. They got these big armies with huge numbers, not really strong armies, but they get huge numbers. And they need to find a way to keep them in place. Because what you don't want is them to be revolting against you. Because even though they don't stand a chance, as you can see that we can eliminate hundreds of Corpus within just one single exterminate run, the Orokin would probably have the same kind of powers. But even if they would have to resort to that, they would just lose massive amounts of manpower because they would just have to kill all of them. And that wouldn't be a very pleasant situation. Now, to keep these troops in place, to keep these slaves in place, they would have to give them a feeling that they belong to the Orokin. Even though they weren't given the Orokin banner because they were slaves, they would have to be given a feeling that they belong to it, so causing a revolution or revolting against the Orokin wouldn't be good in the minds of the Corpus and the Grenier. So it's very likely that there were leaders of the Grenier and Corpus appointed and then put in the Orokin Empire, just for public display, just to say like, look, this is your leader, this is part of your race, and he is here with the Orokin, and that means that you're Orokin as well, but we're not giving you the Orokin banner, but just go die for us because it's alright right now. Now, let's just think of LFV being one of these leaders, and he was put in the Orokin Empire to be such a leader, to be such a figure of, I'm Corpus, but I'm actually Orokin, so we're all Orokin, and just to keep the Corpus troops in place. Well, if this was the case, LFV wouldn't be of any importance to the Orokin. He wouldn't have been in any important meetings or any important business. He would just been there for public display to keep things ordered, and then he would just be locked away somewhere or just being given a somewhat unimportant job like answering phone calls or whatever. Now, if this was the case, LFV would have, of course, considered himself to be Orokin, because that was like greatness. He was an Orokin more almighty, so why? Well, I'm Orokin, you know, I'm LFV of the Orokin. Well, he frankly wasn't. Hence, I now call him the Orokin Cold LFV. Like, you're not actually Orokin, you're just like the Orokin Cold LFV. However, the moment the Orokin system fell, the Orokin Empire fell, it is very presumable that LFV would have said like, oh wait, the Orokin Empire is falling, what can I do, you know? He's very concerned with his own life. So he would have been like, crap, the Orokin Empire is falling, and just said like, no, I'm not Orokin, I don't have to be killed here because I'm Corpus, and then he sided with the Corpus and continued to live on. And this change of fractions wouldn't have been weird because he was Corpus to begin with, but as we have seen over the years, he has been moved from Corpus to Infested, and now he's not really sided with either of them. He's more sided with us, with the Tenno, as we've seen in the Second Dream and now the Shadow Deck, because he has been letting us fight against both Corpus and Infested and Grenier. And if he would have been part of these fractions, you know, why would he let us fight against them? So Maybe he's now moving to the Tenno, but I'm not gonna go into depth about them, but this just shows how easy he changes from faction to another. So, him changing from Orokin to Corpus because the Orokin Empire fell and he feared for his life, that would have been a presumable, very plausible situation. Now, him changing to the Orokin faction to the Corpus faction because the Orokin Empire fell, this would also explain the feelings of revenge of Stalker towards Aleph, because Aleph, with this action, even though he didn't really mean anything to the Orokin, he would be betraying the Orokin by not sitting through the bitter end and dying with the Orokin, but moving on to the Corpus and just betraying the Orokin system. And this would also explain why the Stalker is sending his acolytes after Aleph to kill him, because he wants to get revenge for the Orokin system. Another thing which proves this idea that Aleph was not in fact very much an important person with the Orokin is that in the beginning, when we meet Aleph, just like in the very beginning when you meet him as being the Corpus leader, he's researching warframes and the way they are made and such. But if you think about it, warframes are Orokin-made weapons of war. However, if they were Orokin-made and Aleph would have been important within the Orokin system, he would have been there with the development, or he would have known the way they were made because, well, the Orokin made them. So if he was important, he would have known about it. From this knowledge that we have, that he doesn't know really what warframes were made of after the Orokin Empire fell. This would explain that Aleph wasn't important within the Orokin Empire. However, Hanao knowing his name, Hanao knowing that he was Aleph, also explains that he wasn't just a simple crewman, because Hanao may be great, he may be almighty, but him remembering every single name of every single crewman, that's just ridiculous, and we're not even gonna consider that an option. The position of him being a leader for public display of the Corpus, that would just fit this idea nicely. He would be, Hanao would know who he is because he was there in public display, but he wouldn't know anything about the affairs about the Orokin because he wasn't important enough. He wasn't granted this intel. So that really supports the idea that Aleph was given the title of Orokin. He also gladly accepted that to keep the Corpus down from refolding. But the moment the Orokin Empire fell, he just reverted back to being Corpus because that was that was the better situation for him. And him reverting back to Corpus would also cause the revenge of Stalker to act on him because he betrayed the Orokin in some manner of fact, actually. So that's basically my point of view about it. If you have any other ideas of any other point of views, or you want to pose questions about it, please do, or make a reaction video on me. That would also be fun, and then we can discuss it.